Hi, third grade. Today's lesson is a little tricky, but I'm pretty sure you can handle it. I worked with you guys last year in second grade, so even though this one's a little bit of a challenge, I still think you can do it. We're going to learn how to use a ruler today, and I'm not talking about just using a ruler to draw a straight line. I'm talking about figuring out what these numbers are for and how to measure with them. Please join me down here on the board so you can see what I'm talking about. All right, let's look closely at this ruler. When you find one at home, you may find one that has two sets of numbers. If that is the case, we are going to try and focus on the numbers that go from 1 to 12. In my case, 1 to 12. This means this is a foot-long ruler. This is the standard that we use here at the art room in Lankerville. And you also see a second set of numbers. The smaller ones, these go from 1 to 30. That's centimeters, and we're not going to measure in centimeters today. We're just going to focus on measuring in inches. You need to measure the piece of paper you have. Here at Lankerville, we are going to use a piece of paper that is 12 inches long. And you can see that my ruler goes all the way from one side to the other. And if I measure it in the other direction, I have a piece of paper that is 9 inches long. Now, I'm going to need you to do a little bit of math. If you have a piece of paper that is 12 inches long, we're going to make a mark halfway between our numbers. So let's try this. What is half of 12? In our case, half of 12 is the number 6. If I have a letter 6 and I divide that in half, I'm going to get the number 3. And since I now seem to be counting by threes, I'm going to make 3-inch squares. I've got 3, 6, 9 is the next number I'm going to focus on today. So on my paper, I'm going to make marks every time I see the number 3, the number 6, the number 9. I don't have to make a mark at the number 12 because that runs off the edge of my paper. All right, now if you look closer at the ruler itself, you can see that the numbers are sitting right beside a really long line. Anytime I make any measurements with a ruler, I need to focus on the long line beside the number. That's where my inch mark is. It's not the number itself. So if I want to make a mark at the number 6, I need to make a mark right above the long line beside the number 6. Right here. The long line beside the number 9 is also the one I need to be concerned with. Okay, so let's take my paper. Remember that I'm worried about the 3, the 6, and the 9. For a 12-inch piece of paper, we need to worry about the 3, the 6, and the 9. And take my ruler, and I'm going to make sure it's sitting on my paper completely. I am going to take my pencil, and I'm going to make a tiny mark at the long line beside the 3. I'm going to make a tiny mark at the long line beside the 6. And I'm going to make another mark at the long line beside the 9. All right, let's slide that down just a little bit farther, right about in the center of the paper. We're going to make the same marks at the number 3 line, at the number 6 line, and at the number 9 line. I'm going to slide it down one last time, making sure you can still see it. And we're going to make a new set of marks at the 3, at the 6, and at the 9. Now I want you to do something. I want you to take your ruler and I want you to turn it up and down. And I would like you to put it right beside all those little marks that you just made. Can you see them on this side of my ruler? I'm going to connect the dots. And to connect the dots, I need to put my pencil up against the ruler, and I'm going to press lightly so that all my dots are connected. You just divided your paper exactly in half at the 6-inch mark. I'm going to connect them again over here for the number 3. When you put your pencil right up against the ruler, you get a nice super straight line. That's why we use rulers. And last, I'm going to connect these set of dots. And now I have divided my paper up into 4 sections. 1, 2, 3, 4. Very good. All right, we're going to turn our paper this time. I am still going to be focused on the number 3, the number 6, and the number 9, but you're going to see something tricky has happened. If I take my ruler and I make sure to add it to the edge of the paper, I want my ruler right up against the edge of this paper, I need to draw another mark at the 3, another mark at the 6, but this time we've run out of paper, so we can't make a mark at the 9. Let's take our little 9 tag and make it go away. We're only making marks today at the 3 and the 6, dividing up our paper in this direction. I like to take my ruler and sit it right on top of that fence that I drew originally. Then I don't get confused about what direction I'm drawing in. Uh-oh. I have done something incorrectly. I wasn't paying attention, and I don't have my ruler marked at the edge of my paper. That means that dot is not at all where it should be. Let's erase that one. This is why you need to do some serious concentrating when you're working with rulers. If you're talking like I was and wasn't paying attention what I was doing with my hands, I end up with a line that is not in the right spot. This is a big problem when it comes to working with wood or when you're doing any cutting at home. Ask any people that you know that work with wood, and the rule is measure twice, cut once. I'm going to take my ruler and put it on the line one more time. I'm going to make sure I'm at the edge. I'm going to make a mark at the 3. I'm going to make a mark at the 6. And now I'm going to connect those dots. So let me bring you back up in the air just a little bit. And we're going to watch Miss Huffman connect those dots. This time I'm going to draw my line straight up and down. And of course, since my ruler fits on my paper, I will have no problems. Congratulations, you have just made a grid on the back of your paper. I want you to flip it over. All that work, and she made me flip it over. That's okay, I actually have a plan. The next plan is this. We're going to draw some lines. I want you to think about every different kind of line that you can imagine. I'm going to take a permanent marker, and I'm going to draw lines that touch one end of my paper and go all the way across to the other end of my paper. None of my lines are allowed to touch the top and the bottom. They can only touch the right and the left, and side to side. They cannot go anywhere else. They should also not cross over each other, because there's nothing worse than crossing the streams. Make sure all your lines have a good bit of space between them. We don't have to have them 6 feet apart, but let's have them at least an inch apart. So let's think of all the different kinds of lines we can name. How about a straight line? How about a wavy line? One edge to the other and nothing crossing. How about a zigzag line? They don't have to be big zigs, they can be small. Maybe they're big and small. How about a loop-de-loo? What if your loop-de-loos change direction? Loop. How about a dotted line? What about a line made up of other lines? What if I write a line with my name? I'm sure there are lots of other lines that you can think of. You don't have to copy the ones that I've done, but give it a try. Draw lines on your piece of paper.